The average temperature on Earth has risen 0.74 Celsius degrees since the 1800s, says the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The main reasons for such an increase is the devastation of nature by human actions. The burning of large quantities of oil, gasoline, and coal, the cutting of forests, and certain farming practices during the last century and a half have contributed to global warming. As one of the consequences of this phenomenon, recent natural catastrophes worldwide have opened the eyes of world leaders to this modern problem. Global warming has become an international discussion. Scientists say it is necessary to take actions to prevent another temperature increase in the next 100 years. Environmental organizations have formed throughout the world to combat global warming. Paola is the executive director of Time's Up, a non-profit group that uses events and educational programs to promote a more sustainable and less toxic world, beginning in their own city, New York.
Time's Up was founded 23 years ago. I founded it myself. It's an environmental organization in New York City. I guess I just came up with the idea, like, time's up. We need to do something about how people treat the planet and everyday goals that they do or everyday decisions they make.
What do you think were like the most important victories that you have reached so far?
I guess the one we're most well known for is getting more people on bikes and challenging the city. So Time's Up is also pretty well known for protecting and starting new community gardens.
Time's Up is also well known in New York City for starting the pedicabs.
The pedicabs are a bicycle. It's human powered, where it's just like a bicycle. Someone pedals, two people or one person gets in the back, and it takes someone to their destination. And it's good for the planet, it's good for everybody, and it's just replacing a cab with zero admission.
Bill believes his work at Time's Up is making a difference, but he cannot do everything alone. The group counts on volunteers. Each one has a different role, using their skills to help Time's Up achieve their goals.
The group has about 100 volunteers, and what they do is they have event planning meetings. The way it works is one person comes up with the idea, the other people help promote it, advertise it, the group pays for it, and then we put it on a calendar, and then it happens. And there are monthly events that happen every month. There is something called a campaign that Time's Up does, where we're trying to get the cars at Central Park, we're trying to get people to stop using styrofoam, try to get people to use paper instead of plastic, try to people think about the water that they drink. So we have campaigns, we have bike rides, we have workshops.
One of the events they helped promote in New York City is Critical Mass, a race that happens on the last Friday of each month. Critical Mass was started in California and happens all over the world. According to Time's Up, it is an important way to get people's attention.
It became very fun for people, and Time's Up organized a lot of these huge parties after the ride because we were trying to save the community gardens at the time, so we'd end them in a garden. These huge parties where people bring food, fire jugglers, marching bands, the whole critical mass would come into the community garden, and then we'd tell people, hey, by the way, this garden's going to be destroyed. When the critical mass was happening, it was a safe place for people to ride together. So it was a great way to introduce people to bicycling. It was like a party on wheels. They were safe, and then they started commuting to work and doing other things, not so much the group rides. So that was one thing. There's also a way where all these bicyclists that had folding bikes, fixed gear bikes, messengers, punks, can all work together because there was no leaders. So it created community. Yeah! And then the one thing that it did was push the city with a lot of media attention, a lot of crazy stuff that went on around, to create more infrastructure. So it was also a direct action.
Increasing the use of bicycles in New York City is a major goal for Time's Up. But they say that the city government is trying to discourage people from participating in their riding events. On the other hand, the city says that the races have grown in size and that it is the job of the police to make sure that the participants obey traffic laws against blocking traffic and running red lights.
Yeah, we can
There's nowhere in particular I want you to go. Just stay in the bike lane. The Caterpillar can't go.
As a result, the New York Police Department now requires permits for those who take to the streets in groups of 50 or more for processions, races, and protests.
Around 2005, the city just, really tried to stop the ride with everything they could. And since then, it's been very difficult to go on the ride because you might ride a couple of blocks and they'll give you like 5 tickets. On the other hand, after our big victory on the streets and in the court cases, the city hired a new DOT person. And a lot of people, over 100 people, are now planning the way the streets is. There's much more bike lanes. I could just say that, riding your bike in New York City is very, it's like a lot of freedom. You can make turns, go where you want, park where you want, use any street. It's good for your health. It's good for the planet. It's just a great small city to ride your bike. And we're here to support those people. Time's up.